of the big lake they called Gitchgme. The lake, it is said, never gives up her dead when the skies of November turn gloomy. With a load of iron ore 26,000 tons more than the Edmund Fitzgerald weighed empty, Gordon Lightfoot got the inspiration to write track of the Edmund Fitzgerald after reading an article on the ship sinking in the November 24, 1975, issue of Newsweek magazine. In an interview with the journal Sentinel's Bill Glauber in November 2015, just before the 40th anniversary of the tragedy, Lightfoot said he thought the article was too short, too brief, and that those who lost their lives on the Edmund Fitzgerald deserved more. What you should know about the Edmund Fitzgerald, the Milwaukee-linked ship that sank and inspired a classic Gordon Lightfoot song. One of the best-known shipwrecks of the 20th century took place north of Wisconsin involving a ship owned by a Milwaukee company, registered to Milwaukee and named for a Milwaukee board chairman, and which became a legend thanks to a haunting song about the tragedy by Canadian singer-songwriter Gordon Lightfoot. The SS Edmund Fitzgerald was an ore carrier that, when it was launched in June 1958, was the largest ship on the Great Lakes. Costing $8 million to build, the 729-foot-long ship was designed to haul taconite iron ore from mines in Duluth, Minnesota, to iron works in port cities around the Great Lakes. Although it was launched in Detroit, Milwaukee was its port of registry. At the time of the launch, the Milwaukee Journal called the Edmund Fitzgerald the new queen of the Great Lakes ore fleet. The Edmund Fitzgerald was a hard worker, setting seasonal hauling records 6 times. In 1972, the ship set the single haul record carrying more than 30,000 tons of iron pellets, a record later broken by much larger ships. On November 10, 1975, the Edmund Fitzgerald was sailing across Lake Superior and loaded with more than 26,000 tons of taconite ore pellets when it ran into a storm, packing 70-knot winds and producing 25-foot waves. The ship reported that it had some topside damage, including the loss of 2 vents and some fence rail, and that the ship was listing and dealing with flooding, but it did not issue a distress call. The ship sank in Canadian waters, about 17 miles northwest from the entrance to Whitefish Bay, in Lake Superior, not the Whitefish Bay in Milwaukee's North Shore. All 29 men on the ship perished, their bodies were never recovered. The ship sank so fast that the crew didn't have time to lower lifeboats, although reports indicated that it would have been difficult to do so in such stormy waters. Surveys by air and sonar not long after the sinking found the wreckage of the ship, which appeared to have broken in two. A number of dive teams, some of them unmanned, investigated the wreckage in the 3 decades after the sinking, recovering parts of lifeboats and other debris. In 1995, the ship's 200-pound bronze bell, a largely ceremonial piece required by the Coast Guard at the time, was recovered and taken to the Great Lakes Shipwreck Museum in Whitefish Point, Michigan, not far from where the Edmund Fitzgerald sank. But in 2006, an amendment to the Ontario Heritage Act declared the shipwreck a protected. Gordon Lightfoot got the inspiration to write wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald after reading an article on the ship sinking in the November 24, 1975, issue of